Jesus is real, but you devils taught lies on Christ. So many lies that when we come with the truth, people think that the lies is the truth and that the truth is the lie.
Who changed the truth for God into a lie? In English, Jesus Christ, in Hebrew, is Yahweh Shai. So do or die. The Immaculate Conception is deception, along with the myth of giving gifts on December 25th. Christmas is Satan's clause, the birth of Nimrod, and not the Son of God. To you was kinda odd. On the Passover, Christ was born in the spring. So now we bring the truth about the King of Kings. That's Black Jesus and not Caesar Borgias. And the facts can't be changed. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai.
Hebrew Israelites, Kwam Yashala.
It's all about the Most High. It's all about Yahweh Shai. It's all about the Most High.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, Israel. Welcome to another exciting edition here at ISBHBK Houston. Another live class. We're located in Houston, Texas. The address is 88524 South Braeswood Boulevard. Houston, Texas, zip code 77071. We also got a school out in San Antonio, Texas, been there over 25 years, which the brothers to my right, the priest to my right, we're the priest for the school over in San Antonio. The address to that school is 4219 Centergate Street, San Antonio, Texas, zip code 78217. And also we have another school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with Priest Mashaba and the brothers out there. The address to that school is 501 Copper Ave, Northwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico. The zip code is 87102. And also the Blog Talk Radio is done out of Albuquerque, New Mexico as well, with Priest Mashaba. And it's Monday through Friday, every Monday through Friday, starting at 9:30 a.m. It's the perfect way to start your morning. I recommend checking it out every morning. It's the perfect way to start it while you're making breakfast, while you're on your way to work. It's easy.
We also want to add one more teacher date in Austin, Texas. We're going to be at the Central Library. The address is 710 West Cesar Chavez Street. And that's going to be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that's going to be on the 5th floor in room number 531. And that's going to be at the Austin Central Library.
That's beautiful. Nice.
That's going to be on, did I say the date? The August 24th. March 24th.
That's a Saturday, right?
That's a Saturday. It's going to be Sabbath class.
Beautiful. So if you have anybody in the Austin, Texas area, or you know anybody in the Austin, Texas area, please do as the scripture says, Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. So that'll be beautiful. We also got classes up and running in Trinidad as well. Contact us for more information if you would like to get in touch with the brothers in Trinidad. But here in Houston, we have classes Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 10 p.m., Fridays from 6 to 9 p.m., and Shabbat morning class on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Kids class has been postponed, and of course we have all our classes live on ISBHBK, YouTube.com. And we got Priest Kazakia, he's in Trinidad, and Priest Kwatazap, he's in Trinidad as well, along with Priest Abiyar. But if you like Priest Kazakia's number, his number is 281-707-2737. Please text only during class. Likewise with Priest Kwatazap, his number is 303-557-8979. We have Pure Rum coming up on March the 16th. Wow, that's 2 days from now. Yes, we won't have class on the 16th, which is Friday. We won't be having class in commemoration of Pure Rum. So, but yeah, please gather together on that day as well. It's a high holy day, and the Most High has ordered us to celebrate the high holy days. I mean, we celebrated Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, holidays that didn't mean anything. So please join us for Pure Rum. It's March the 16th, 2018. And 2 weeks from that, we'll have the Passover, which will be on April 1st. And it's located at the Sterling Banquet Hall The address is 5475A West Ham Houston Parkway, North Houston, zip code 77042. So if you'd like to send in a donation to help with the location for the Passover, or if you'd like to send a donation to help out with the lambs for the Passover, you can always Wells Fargo a monetary donation. Any form of donation through the Wells Fargo account. The account should be on the screen, or you could Google it, a donation through isbhbk@gmail.com. Remember, all contributions is welcome and needed. It all goes back to your people. Whether you like to help out with the Passover, or whether you like to help out with the school, with the businesses, we have EOs, American Eastern Oils, in Houston, Texas, Egyptian Treasures out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we also got American Eastern Oils in San Antonio as well.
Right.
Soon to be in Austin. So if you'd like to help out, if you'd like to send a donation to help out your brothers and sisters, you're more than welcome. But that'll be it for the announcement. So if you have any questions, please send them through.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, man.
Sir.
And like the brother said, man, we're gonna touch, briefly on the questions, you know what I'm saying, so that we can go into the heart of the class we're gonna go into. So if there are questions, you know what I'm saying, we can, like I said, brief. We're gonna touch in. If you feel like the question may be a little extensive, and I don't want to give you like a one answer question or one answer scripture to your question, I'll always say, we'll have one of the brothers address that question so you have a little time. But, if there's no questions, there's something we was hitting over, and Shapswan was talking about it in the car, you know what I'm saying? And I briefly touched on this with Kazak a little bit. We was rapping about it, just as he was, before he was getting ready to get up out of Trinidad anyway. So the brothers had the brothers, great spirits there, man. You know what I'm saying? They was able to really, from his conversation, he was able to learn from them just as much, you know what I'm saying? Be able to see, the effect we have, you know what I'm saying? And how much what we do is respected. But also, I like the other side, not just about how much we're respected, but it's also about the fact that we hold a big responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about Trinidad. I'm talking about every time we on the air. You know what I'm saying? We really we're supposed to hold ourselves to a bigger caliber, a bigger responsibility to all those things. And that's not even just online. That should be the example in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Every day we wear fringes. Every day we go out and we present ourselves as Israelites. We're supposed to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And there should be one thing that we're focused on, and that's helping our people. But the way we're supposed to help them is we're supposed to feed the spirit of that person. You know what I'm saying? So, if we ready, man, we can go on into the class. Let's say when somebody dropped the.
Yeah, no questions.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna just go ahead and hit on into the class, man. You know what I'm saying? Go that route. And like I said, I know the sister posted the topic, so I'm not gonna try to
Sneak attack.
yeah, I'm not gonna try to throw my topic in there or my title to this, because I'm messing up and don't listen to my mind. Let me just leave what she typed up, and whatever y'all see, that's the topic. If you didn't get the topic from me, then when you look at the show, the topic is on there. And we're gonna try to stick to the topic that I gave her, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's based around the fact that what is the duties of an elder, and then how a young man is supposed to grow. And that's what I wanted to go into. And what I'm gonna take it from is more of Paul. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go into where Paul was, the mindset he had to be in, and the way he looked at what he was building. You know what I'm saying? If majority of the New Testament was written, a lot about him and his life and the camps that they were going out and building, it was a standard that he operated from, and a humility that he carried about himself. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to be able to now tap into. I want to help you go in the scriptures to try to tap into the humility that Paul had to operate with to be able to build the things that he's building. He built the schools that were built, and then the men that followed after that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when he sent men out, when he was sending, this is my brother Timothy. You know what I'm saying? Receive him.
Right.
But Timothy had to be a certain caliber for Paul to now send this brother out.
Right.
He just wasn't anybody going out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there had to be spirits that were developed a certain way, men that were built up, and then not every brother is going would end up being the perfect example. You know what I'm saying? Because the Bible talks about examples of good and bad. You had Elisha to Elijah, perfect example. You know what I'm saying? Right. Elisha followed Elijah,
Right.
but when it came to Elisha and his understudy, he wasn't following. You know what I'm saying? So even in the scriptures, it shows both sides. So if we're supposed to come in now, our job is to figure out what type of humility builds, you know what I'm saying, a nation. And then also what type of arrogance, pride that will tear down men, tear down a nation. You understand? So we're going to start where else he was going to?
1 Corinthians.
Yeah, let's go to 1 Corinthians now.
1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 1.
Before we go there, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 33. Let's start at 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. And then, y'all might, I want you to drop down to verse 40. Okay? We're going to go here. And I like saying this too, man, because you know what? Even as teachers and men that have supposedly been the truth for a long time, we're still students, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to profess to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? An elder is only as good as the thing he's good at. You know what I'm saying? But every time we embark into something new, or the Most High is opening a door up to us, and this is new, then we become students again. You know? Leadership. You know, teaching some things, you know what I'm saying? Being online, the things have changed on us. From businesses, everything we've done, we had to become a student to what it was that we started to do. And then from being a student, we learned to perfection. We're always in the mode of learning. Never will we say we're perfect at anything. No man can profess that. You can be perfect at what you're good at. You know what I'm saying? You can't be perfect at that. You're just good at it.
Right.
If you're a barber, you're good at being a barber. You ain't perfect, but you're good. Because there has been some heads that have gotten
Way.
right. You know what I'm saying? That little line just wasn't. If you said, but I done did better. It's good, but I've done better.
Even at being good, I mean, I still mess up from time to time. You know, it happens.
That's how you know that is what humility is. Humility is the fact that, you know what, I can admit, and then I can always fight to improve. You see what I'm saying? Always fighting to improve what it is I'm doing. Even always humble enough to listen so that where I may fall short, someone can help me improve. That's what we have to get to the point of. Because that's what that is the thing that really builds our nation. That's what's going to build us as a people. Now, I like to think about this. As the world changes, we have to adjust. When we come out of this world, we in our kingdom. You know, we go to being again? Children.
Good.
Because what are we going to know about it? Nothing. I'm a student all over again. You know what I'm saying? You graduate from one grade to the next, and every time you go to a new grade, you start all over. From elementary to middle school, whole new world, you back to being a nobody. From middle school to high school, you back to being a nobody. From high school to college, you back to being a nobody. Then when you get out of college life, you're a nobody again. But you know what? as a man of humility, it is about going into these arenas and saying, you know what, I embrace being a student to this arena. I can embrace learning something new, so that I can now improve myself. This is what growth is. I can improve me only because I allowed myself to learn. You understand? So read that. We're going to start in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and we're going to read verse 33.
1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 33.
Go ahead.
For Yahweh is not the author of confusion.
He said the Most High is not the what?
Author of confusion.
So the scripture says the Father is not the author of confusion. Read on.
But of peace.
So, if he's not the author of confusion, now, I got a dictionary. I looked up the word confusion, right? When you look at the word confusion, it means lack of understanding. Right? Uncertainty, doubt. That's what confusion is. It's a lack of understanding. It's having uncertainty, and it's having doubt. So the Father said, I'm not the author of that. I don't lack understanding. So if confusion is there, it comes from who? It comes from us.
From us.
Because we lack understanding. We're always uncertain, just not sure. And we deal with a lot of doubt.
Yes, sir.
So he said, I'm not the author of confusion, but I'm the author of peace. Free from strife or derision, right?
God.
The Most High said, I'm free from that. This is what I authorize. This is what I bring to the table, peace. What you bring to the table is what? Confusion. And that's all of us. Because we're always going to lack understanding of something. We're always growing. Right. So we're where confusion comes from. Like, who brought this confusion? This man did. This brother brought confusion. But why did he bring confusion? Because he lacked understanding. You know what I'm saying? There's something he didn't see. He didn't see what this would, by his actions here, what this would end up affecting. I lacked understanding, right? But now that's where that confusion comes from. Now jump down to verse 40.
Verse 40. Let all things be done decently and in order.
It should be done how?
Decently and in order.
So if we look at the fact that now the Most High was requiring, he said, I'm the author of peace. But all things are supposed to be done decent and they're supposed to be done in order. So that's what we're trying to figure out. We're going to go to the scriptures and find out what does the Most High mean about things being done decent. You see what I'm saying? Being done the right way. And all throughout the scriptures, there are examples of what the Most High considered to be decent and in order. The proper way of doing something. The proper method. And that's what we're supposed to be looking for. What is the proper method of things being done?
I wanted to bring up one verse on top of what you brought up as far as how we do things that are contrary to the Most High, that, like you said, is not decent. Like the scripture says, is not in order. Right. Let's go to Matthew chapter 22, verse 29, and we'll come right back to where we at in 1 Corinthians chapter 14.
Okay. Matthew chapter 22 and verse 29.
Go ahead.
Jesus answered and said unto them, ye do err.
Right, that error, that E-R-R, that ye do err, he said the mistakes that we make, he says that you do err, that the problems that we have, that error means to deviate from one's true aim, course, or purpose.
Right.
So I deviate or go contrary to my aim, course, or purpose. So somewhere in our life, we get off track from what the Most High created us for.
Okay.
We go away from the purpose that we were created as Israelites.
Right.
You know, so he says we deviate where?
Not knowing the scriptures.
Because one of our biggest issues is we don't know the Bible enough.
Right.
And that's as far as an elder, that's an elder's job, is to know the scriptures.
I lack understanding.
Right.
Because you know what I have been doing? A lot of times I've been winging it, going off of how I feel and what I think, as opposed to patterning myself more and more like the Bible.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that way now as an elder, if I'm going to now lead you, if you're reading the book, then you should be reading the book and looking at me, right? So as you're looking at me, you're seeing, wait a minute, hey, this brother is not perfect, but he's close to what I've been reading. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to walk that path of what I'm reading.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So I like the point he's making. You err not knowing the scriptures, so you deviate. Because as an elder, I was in that book, supposedly in the book, and it's easy to see. If I don't study, you'll see. You'll see some of my actions. You follow me long enough, you'll see me slip up because I have deviated, right? But I deviated because of my lack of understanding. You understand?
Finish that.
Nor the power of Yahweh.
And we just read in 1 Corinthians that the Most High is not the author of confusion.
Right.
So the Most High doesn't support, he doesn't co-sign confusion. He doesn't co-sign deviation.
Right.
He doesn't co-sign going astray from the way that we were taught how we're supposed to conduct ourselves, how we're supposed to live our lives. The Most High, he doesn't back that up. So his power is absent when it comes to my confusion. So he's not there. He's not present with me in my actions. And I don't understand how to get the Most High involved in my life because I don't understand the purpose that I'm supposed to be created for.
Right. I love it because that's what we're getting at. We go back quickly.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 9.
But I like the point.
14.
I like the point that we're getting at because a lot of our problems are based off of the fact it's a lack of understanding. A lot of our immaturities. Better word. Immature. I'm an immature elder because as I've developed, we look at men, and because a man's developing, we'll say this brother is an officer. Take nothing from him. You know what it means? Yes, he's an officer. But he's not an officer right now. He's growing to be an officer. Because that's like walking into a job. If I just got the job, you're a postman. Yes, you are a postman, but you don't really know how to do the job. So now you are in training to become a postman. So when everybody see you, they see you with the uniform on, but just because you have the uniform, don't mean you don't know the streets. Right. You don't know the you're still learning the job. You know what I'm saying? You're still learning it. So if I'm still learning the job, that don't take that from me, but I'm going to make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? But I have to be humble enough to understand that my mistakes are cost effective. They're going to affect, someone is going to pay for my mistakes. You see what I'm saying? Spiritually, somebody's going to pay for my mistakes. So I have to now I have to be humble enough to learn, to submit, you know what I'm saying, to come under the authority. I have to now be in this book learning so I know what type of example I'm supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be that way. It has to grow to the point that the book is, I'm living the book. Because if I'm living these words, then as people are reading them, this is what's feeding them. Not the fact that I'm feeding people with my lack of understanding. Because that's where confusion comes in. You know what I'm saying? So, where we at? Go to
back in 1 Corinthians chapter 14.
Now read that. Read 40 again. 14 and 40.
1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 40. Let all things be done decently and in order.
Read on. Is that it? Now from there, go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1.
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1.
Now listen to this. Read that.
Be ye followers of me.
Paul said, do what?
Be ye followers of me.
Go ahead.
Even as I also am of Christ.
Read on.
Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things.
Go ahead.
And keep the ordinances.
And you keep the what?
Ordinances.
He said that you keep the order, or you keep the things that I'm showing, the things that I'm teaching you. Read.
As I delivered them to you.
So Paul then, we have to go back now. And we got to read a little more about Paul. Because what ordinance, what was the system that was delivered to them? What did Paul lay down? You know what I'm saying? Or what was Paul's life like? That this is what these men were supposed to follow. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to come in and say, okay, if I'm the elder and this man is under me, is he following my system? Is he following my mind? Is he following the way I'm doing things? I laid this down. Now this brother is required to do what now? Follow it. Not go and establish his own thing. Not go try to come up with his way of doing that. Well, that was you. Now, we got two different spirits. Yeah, brothers be thinking that way too. We got way two different spirits. That's your tactic. That's not really my tactic. That's your approach. That's what you do good at. That's not what I do. He said, no, you're supposed to be following the ordinances as they were laid down. You see what I'm saying? So it's always about the fact that is what eliminates a lot of confusion. This is where it eliminates a lot of lack of understanding. If you followed the system, the way it's being laid down to you, then as spiritually, you'll be able to see the benefit. You'll be able to see, oh, this is why he does that. This is why he's doing it this way. Because this is the effect. You see what I'm saying? But when I try to go out and just wing it and do things how I feel or my way, what ends up happening is I never see the effect. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to go and look at now. Paul said there was a way I was supposed to do things. Still. Where's you going out there? Yeah. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to, now there you go. I'm supposed to get to that point of, let's look at the effect. Let's look at how I follow. Because if I follow, then what's going to happen is following the system doesn't change. And now I love one thing. Now the elder is held responsible, right? But if I don't follow and I'm trying to set up, I lack understanding because I'm trying to do something that I may be a newbie at doing. I'm brand new doing this, and I'm gonna come up here and I'm just gonna wing it. I never know the effect because I lack understanding. I don't know the end result. I don't know the consequences of the things I'm doing. We don't, in this truth talk, we don't get to try to introduce our spirit. The way we do it, how things feel to us. I just don't, that ain't my thing. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this. You lack a lot of understanding. See, it's not the fact of you. It's not about you. It's not about me. You know what it's about? It's about the body, right? So I have to understand that if the body's being fed, if there was a system that was already feeding the body, that as a man coming up, I have to now understand that the body needs this. You understand? The body needs something. And that's what we're here doing. Watch. Did you finish that one? Good. Now watch. Let that go. Let's go to scripture. Go to Corinthians now, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians. Chapter
9, verse 1 and 2.
Yeah, let's go there real fast.
Good. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 1.
Because what we're going into looking at is the mind of Paul and the leadership of Paul. Right?
Good.
This is the leadership, and this is the way he looked at. Look at this. You go read it in English. It's a Thessalonians.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 1.
Go ahead, read it.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Am I not an apostle?
Paul said what?
Am I not an apostle?
Read.
Am I not free?
Read.
Have I not seen Yahushua HaMashiach, our master?
He said, now this is Paul was saying this incorrect, right? But he was saying to them, if it was really about what I've done, then what I've done should speak for me then. Have I not done these things? Yeah, he did. He did do it. You know what I'm saying? But did he do it in Corinth? No, he didn't do it in Corinth. You know what I'm saying? If he was in Rome, did he do it in Rome? No, he didn't. If it was Galatia, Ephesia. So every place he went who I am can't always speak for me. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So I can be the elder here, and you may know what I've done, but I can't throw out what I've done here at you, or at another brother, or another body of brothers, and try to come off like you're supposed to recognize me for my leadership because I've done this. I've been here.
Damn.
I don't know you. I may have done it there, but what have you done here? You see what I'm saying? That's why the system is what we push. That's got to speak for you. The body, meaning the work and then the men that come by and their spirits are being fed. That speaks for every leader. Now what you've done is what you still have the capability of doing. I can still touch spirits. That's supposed to speak for me. So read it again.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 1. Am I not an apostle? Am I not free?
Read.
Have I not seen Yahushua HaMashiach, our master? Or not ye my work in the Most High?
Are ye not my what?
Work in the Most High?
Go ahead.
If I be not an apostle unto others.
Read it again.
If I be not an apostle unto others.
So Paul understand what? Not everybody has been fed by me. Not everybody's spirit was impacted by me. So I can't even, what I went here, because we cannot come in the mind frame like, because of what I've done, this is supposed to speak for my leadership. No. What you invest in a person's spirit speaks for your leadership. What you did to take care of the flock speaks for your leadership. The work that a man does speaks for his leadership. So you can't ride on another man's coattail.
Good.
You can't do that.
Yes, sir.
You have to be that leader that goes and invested into now being an example for the flock, feeding the flock. You have to understand that it's my turn to feed these spirits. So what are they going to see? Are they going to see the program, or am I going to be that person that is the author of confusion? Confusion started with me. You understand? That's what Moses says. I'm not the author of confusion. Your confusion, that lack of understanding, didn't start with me, with the Most High. Lack of understanding started with this man because he didn't understand. You know what? It starts over. Every time you meet someone, it starts over. You have to now feed this spirit. You have to become what this spirit needs to grow. Every time I meet somebody, it starts over. I can't assume I don't get to just be me. You understand?
Got it.
I don't get to do what I used to do and how I do things. I have to give this spirit what it needs to grow. Read on. Tell them where you at.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 2, second precept.
Go ahead.
Yet doubtless I am to you for the seal of my apostleship are ye in the Most High.
He said, my seal and my apostleship is who?
Are ye in the Most High.
He said, so what speaks to what type of apostle I am is the flock. He said, no doubt. He said, doubtless. No doubt, I am your apostle because I've invested in your spirit. I've fed you spiritually and built you up. Read. Oh, good question.
So when Christ came to the fig tree, that was symbolic for this then.
God.
That where's your fruit at?
Right.
So it wasn't like, because I mean I used to think of it like, okay, it's my works. You know, I used to think of the fruit as being, okay, it's my works. Okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But now it's a good perspective.
And you know what? And it is your works. I'm gonna tell you why it says your works. Because your works is what a young brother's gonna see. Remember, teaching is you teach more in your action than you ever do in your words, huh? You know what I'm saying? You really do teach more in your actions than you do in your words. So if I'm that steadfast brother that's in there, that's teaching another man to be what? Steadfast, right? If I'm diligent in what I do every day, what am I teaching this other man to do? Be diligent. You see what I'm saying? If I'm dedicated to studying and the things that I know I'm required to do, what am I going to teach the next generation?
The same.
So that is your works. That is your voice. That's a man's voice, huh? It's how diligent he is. It's how dedicated to the job that he's doing. That's your voice. Because when you quit, and they quit with you, what was they following? Was they following the fact that you said, listen, you need to go back on here to go to class. But you ain't going to class. So are they really listening to what you're saying, or are they following what you're doing? They're following what you're doing, right? So you got to understand, that is the work. That is your voice. You understand? That's what this is really about. So it's a good question. That is that man that bringing forth fruit. It's about who I'm teaching. It's about after I taught him, what type of example am I? Because I can show somebody the Bible, and then my example be so horrible that I just defiled everything that I taught. So it's like there's a scripture that talks about with the same mouth you bless and curse.
James.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The same mouth. I could be showing you the scriptures all day long, and then come back and use the same mouth to curse you, to destroy everything that I've been building. So I can do them both. So in understanding that part, you got to understand that my example and the man I am, we're going to read that too. We're going to read that in Timothy or in 1 Peter. It's 1 Peter, right? We're going to read it because you got to understand this is what feeds the flock. What we do feeds more than what we say. That's what we're supposed to stand on. We're supposed to stand on the actions, the character of my character, of who I am. That's what Paul's standing on. The world may not know me, but you guys know me. I'm your apostle because you know my character. You know what type of man I am in Christ, right? Read on. Tell them where you at.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 2. If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless
because you know my character. You know what type of man I've been in Yahushua. Read on.
For the seal of mine apostleship are ye in the Most High.
Go ahead. He said, you are the example. You're what seals me. You're what gives me, you're my accreditation. The type of man I've been for you is what validates me. Better word, right? Okay. This what validates me. So to the whole world, I may have no validation. But because you've seen my character and the type of man I've been, this what validates me. So everywhere I go, I have to now be a certain example for the body, so that now when they look at me as an elder, they look at me as an elder because of what I've done, because my actions validate me amongst them, right? Like my action is supposed to validate me amongst you, but it's only because of my character that's been judged, that they've grown from. Read on.
Verse 3. Mine answer to them that do examine me is this.
Read that again.
Mine answer to them that do examine me is this.
Read that again.
Mine answer to them that do examine me is this.
Read.
Have we not power to eat and drink and to drink?
So every is bad. That means every elder is being what? Examined. He's being watched. Paul said, to all the ones that examine me. He said, my answer to you is, and he's going to give you the answer. This ain't even the answer. He asked the question, do we have power to eat and drink? Okay. I may have, but that's still not the answer. Yes, I have it, but I don't do it. I may have the authority. I may be able to go to that book and justify my actions to the point I think. I didn't come to the scripture, man. The Most High is strong me to defend. I'm not supposed to do it around you. No, maybe I don't need to be that type of man. Because if straw meat offends, then I'm not supposed to eat it.
God.
Let me leave that alone. Because it ain't no good for what we building.
It sounds like Paul was very, very sensitive about his example in front of new minds or young minds or the flock or the sheep.
There you go.
He was real careful and walked on eggshells in his behavior to make sure that he didn't set the wrong example that Christ didn't set or anything contrary to Christ.
You know why I like it? Think about this. When he left Corinth, who was left in Corinth? Those brothers, right? I left those brothers in Corinth to do what? They in Corinth. It ain't like they in Jerusalem, right?
God.
They don't have the body around them every day. They didn't grow up knowing the laws to everything else. It wasn't a part of their lifestyle. So where one man could mess up, but if this man messed up, we looked at him as a fool because there was 90 other different examples that I could follow. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have that. Or these men didn't have that. These men had him. At that moment, this is the brother that came out here and he said, you know what? I'm going to bring Christ's name to where it had not been preached. So I brought Christ out here. When I brought Christ out, this wasn't in my words. I said, this is how Christ carried himself. This is how Yahushua carried himself. This is what I'm trying to say. So I had to be careful about what type of example or what type of things that I've done or what type of impression did I leave. What is the mindset that I left these men in? Because when I come back, now I'm coming back, and what I left is the mind that they're in now. Constantly have to go clean up now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I had to now look at this and say, damn, you know what? Like he said, we go back and read it again. He said, to all the ones that examined me, he said what?
Have we not power to eat and to drink?
Read.
Have we not power to lead about a sister,
Read.
a wife,
Read.
as well as other apostles,
Go ahead.
and as the brethren of the Most High, and Cephas?
Read on.
Or I only and Barnabas? Have not we power to forbear working? Who goeth a warfare any time at his own charges?
He said, listen, don't like it? He said, man, Paul said yes. When you said yes, it's like saying, you know, yes, I've done these things. More. If it's leading a sister, I'm more than capable of teaching a sister. If it's about building a camp, I'm more than capable of building a camp.
Okay.
I'm more than capable. So if it was really about being prideful, yes, I have the ability. But now all of a sudden I have to look at where are you at? What good is all of that if we ain't there yet? Right? What good is it if I got the power to cultivate some woman, but we ain't cultivating women right now? What are we dealing with?
Men.
Just men learn the Bible. So this is where I'm at. This is where the body is at. Like Paul said, I became all things to all men, so I may win some. I wasn't talking about I'm in the world being a drunk with a bunch of drunks so I can win drunks. That didn't mean I was in the strip club with a bunch of dudes that like strippers so I can win men that like strippers. That's not what that's talking about. That's talking about whatever level these brothers are at, I can work and operate at that level. I can come down, like the scripture said, to condescend to men of low degree. I can come down to their level. Now we're going to operate on this level. I'm going to make sure I'm an example for you on this level. So when you step up, now I can step to this level with you and be an example. But for all of the wisdom that I got, it does no good if this is not where you're at. You're here. So all this don't even matter. This is where we at. Right now, you need to see a brother that's in the book studying. Cool. Because that's where you at. Then every time you see me, you're going to see me doing what?
Studying.
In the book studying. Because that's how I'm going to feed you. You may need to see a brother that's passed out literature. Yes, I passed out literature. But right now, what do you need? You need to see me passing out literature. Because that's what's going to feed you. That's how you have to look and understand as an elder the development of the flock. You have to give the flock what it needs. Whatever example the flock needs, that's the example that I have to be. It's no good for me to flex eldership. You ain't going to grow from it. I can flex eldership all day long. You're not an elder right now. So what good is that? Right now, you are a babe. So I have to now come to this level and help you where you're growing. That's what this truth is. That's what Paul had to do to allow these men that grew up from the world and didn't know the life of Israel. He had to be that for them. He had to be whatever they needed in righteousness. You know what I'm saying? Question.
It's dope because it gives you like a point of view, like when you look at like a younger brother and you see what they lack. It's dope because now you could actually, to help them grow, you're like, okay, you lack this.
Right.
Let me show you so you can know, yeah, you lack this too, but look, let me show you even better through my example.
There you go.
That I can do it. So now you can see.
And you love me, the point you may see that, instead of me, when I say show you, you can show somebody one time. barber, if I show you how to fade one time, tell me you're going to get it after I show you the one time. It's impossible. You know what you're going to sit there? You're going to sit there and watch me do this over and over. I may go through 40 heads, and you've been sweeping hair before I even think about letting you sit in that chair. You may go and just practice it. You'll tell them, go find you some clients and practice. Go mess up some nephews' heads. Go mess up some little knucklehead kids in the neighborhood. Grab them, offer them a haircut, so you can practice, right? But every time you see me, my style is consistent, right? My method is consistent. So as I come into the truth, it's the same thing. This man needs this. I have to come off that pedestal, right? Humble myself down and give this man what he needs. What does he need to see? I got to give him that. Any man can flex, but I'm not going to feed the body until I give this man the example, steady example that he needs. And when he takes that next step, then I can grow. My growth is based on him. My changes is based on what he needs to see. He needed to see a brother studying, because that's where he's at. We started to come out and studying more. Okay, now we got to start teaching these brothers about dedicating to literature and getting out here and helping to recruit. So what do I have to do now? I have to get up and be that example of recruiting so that he can follow it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I'm trying to mold in him, I got to become it so that he can grow and now have an example to watch and follow until he get it. That is what's required. So go back, read on, where we at?
1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 7. Who goeth a warfare at any time at his own charges.
Read.
Who planted a vineyard and eated not of the fruit thereof.
Go ahead.
Or who feedeth a flock and eated not of the milk of the flock.
He said, who feeds the flock? Who plants a vineyard and don't benefit from it? We're supposed to benefit from it. We're adding help to ourselves. So I have to understand as an elder what I'm doing. Why is this flock important? Because they now bring what? Help to me. Why is this vineyard so important? It feeds me. This is adding to me. So if I understand that I'm adding to myself, I have to now be conscious of what